Hey, Shalom Akim, Yabashim Shai Barakatam, Bashim Kwakadash, Spadam DC Camp with a brief lesson to let Akim know, man. Babylon's on its way out. All the legislation that Esau can pass, it's not going to have any effect, man, because the Most High has deemed this place to be done, you know. So according to the Most High's plan, Yahweh Bashim Shai. And double honors and salutations to others and apostle of great wisdom who rule well. So as you can see, man, it talks about the pension crisis. California got a pension crisis. A lot of folks don't know about, man. But if you dig around the internet, you know that it's happening, man. A lot of folks are moving out of the state. They're moving south. They're moving to the East Coast. I met a lot of folks from California here in Virginia. All right, they're all looking for a new hustle. All right. So I played the video, and just let you know that Babylon's on its way out, man. You can't trust in a system that's built on a false foundation.
All right, how you doing today?
At 66, Alfred Arnold considers himself lucky in a way. In September 2009, when the city of Pritchard, Alabama, suddenly stopped paying pension checks to its retirees. At least he was able to work as a security guard at a mall in Mobile.
In the middle aisle here?
And this past Christmas, instead of exchanging gifts, mall employees gave all the money they would have spent on each other to Alfred and his wife Jackie. Because they knew about the situation.
They knew about the situation at the pension. They knew we didn't have anything. We wasn't getting paid.
How did you feel?
Oh, man, I was devastated. I almost cried.
Alfred Arnold was Pritchard's first black firefighter. He retired after 35 years as a captain.
If I didn't retire, I might not make it the next day, going in the fire. It was just too strenuous, So I had to retire because I had heart problems.
Jackie worked for the Pritchard Police Department for 40 years and was the city's first female officer.
Well, I retired June of 2009. I think I received two.
All right, so you see there, Jake is trusting in Esau's system, man. They give so much in and they get little, so there is no, place of comfort for Jake in Babylon, man. It's all false. It's a false foundation, man. There is no place of to call home for Jake, man. When Jake loses his nationality, his identity, this is what he becomes, man. He becomes a robot, thinking, you put in all this work into the system and then you're gonna get this out. Nope, it doesn't work like that because Jake has to realize he's under a curse, and the curse is also being transferred onto Babylon.
Pension checks and nothing after that. I said we'll come up with something, but nothing ever happened.
And it had not been for my job at the mall as a security officer, we probably couldn't even eat.
After 17 months, it's come to this. The Arnolds and Pritchard's other retirees want to know what's wrong with this picture. Why handouts? Why not the pensions they contributed to? The pensions state law says Pritchard has to pay.
You can't draw blood from a turnip, all the colloquialisms you want to come up with. If the money's not there, we can't pay it.
Attorney Scott Williams represents the city of Pritchard.
If we took all the city's money and paid it to the pensioners, we won't have money to pay for the fire department or to keep the streetlights on.
Pritchard is small, 144 retirees, 27,000 residents. But what happens in Pritchard is being watched by much larger cities, Chicago, Philadelphia, San Diego, to name a few, and by many states. They would all like nothing better than to dump their staggeringly underfunded pension plans.
That's just a little glimpse, man. Because California, according to the report I saw in the previous video, says over $1 trillion behind funded liabilities. The CalPERS, the retirement fund for the public employees. So it's messed up, man. And there's so much corruption in the system, and Esau set up this Ponzi scheme, man, to pull the wool over the people's eyes, because when there's no money coming in, they gotta have cuts. And if they can't do the cuts, they're gonna have a crisis. So that's why it's important. Akim gotta trust in the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Bashim Kodash.
Across the United States, there is a difference of $3 trillion between the amount of money that we have promised public employees and the amount that has been set aside.
Joshua Rao teaches finance at Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management. He's tracked the pension crisis.
Politicians are often trying to make it look like we can have our cake and eat it too. And that's created a situation where we've just pushed the problem down the road, and now we or our kids are going to have to pay for it.
Prichard has reached the end of that road. During the 1960s and 70s, it was thriving, the fastest growing city in Alabama, its population 45,000 at its peak. Then, businesses began to leave, and hard times set in for good. In 1999, its finances in shambles. The city declared bankruptcy. The pension fund was in trouble then. The city ignored a federal court order to replenish it. We saw a letter that was dated 2008, and it was sent to members of the city council and the mayor, saying, essentially, it's going to run out of money in July 2009.
The math was pretty simple. I think the letter was basically saying something needs to be done, and it needs to be done immediately. Unfortunately, there were no real efforts.
And no penalty. City Councilman Troy Ephraim is chairman of the pension board.
I don't feel we've done everything in our power to prevent the inevitable from happening.
And what is inevitable? Total collapse, of society, man. He's upset that his rulership is coming to an end, through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And this financial troubles, man, it's no joke, man. I came down in the jam, could testify to exactly what they have to go through, all right? Because there's nothing certain here in Babylon. So I'll bring out this precept here, this book of Sirach, chapter 40, verse 26. It says, riches and strength lift up the heart, but the fear of the Lord is above them both. All right? There is no want in the fear of the Lord, and it needed not to seek help. All right? So, trust in the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is the ultimate thing. There's nothing, that the Lord cannot handle. All right, for Akim, with man, things are impossible, but with the Most High, Yahweh, all things are possible. All right? So everything Esau's gonna try, man, it's not gonna help, man. All the money that the elites have will not save America, man, because America is on its way out. All right. So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, and look at verse 4. So it says, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. All right. So you gotta fear the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. As a man of the Lord, you gotta trust in the Lord, man, because when the society collapses and there's martial law and you have the mark of the beast, you gotta hope and pray, man, that you're found worthy, to receive mercy, man, because all these riches are nothing, man, compared to what the Lord Yahushai has promised us. So you're gonna see folks lose it, man. Folks are gonna be so sad and overwhelmed. They're gonna be totally depressed, man. Depression is gonna go to an all-time high. There's gonna be lack of medications. People are gonna be wilding out, and you will see the worst side of humanity, man, in these last days. All right. So it's nothing good coming up to Babylon, man. It's total destruction. Alright, so the elites have already decided they're gonna shut down Babylon, they're gonna turn America upside down. That's the will of the Lord, Yahweh Shai. And they don't care, what it causes, man. They just want total power. All right. So if you look at Proverbs 22 verse 16, it says, "He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want." All right. So that's the unjust balance that the Lord is totally against, man. There's no righteousness here in Babylon. It's total enmity, man, between the rulership and the people. The congressman don't want to meet with his constituents. The senators are ducking and hiding, having invitation-only events. They don't want to talk with the people. They want to avoid them, and when they get in touch with them or make contact with them, they want to talk about something else. They want to change the topic. They want to lie. So as you can see, man, America's on its way out, man. Collapse of the economy is imminent. There's nothing these folks can do, man. All these folks with guns and ammunitions, they're gonna go wild, man. Especially these cops, when they realize they've been taken for a ride, they're gonna have the most anger. you know, they're gonna be the one doing the most damage because they give their all to a system that they thought would protect them. All that blue wall of silence. All that stuff is gonna go out the window. The folks doing the most damage will be these cops, man. All these folks with arms and special equipment. They'll be the one to get down and busy, man. They'll be robbing, raping, destroying, here and there, man. Yeah, because they've lost it, man. They're gonna lose it so bad. All right. So as men of the Lord, you have to understand, man. There's no investment for you here in Babylon, man. You gotta know that you gotta put your trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. He's the only true investment, okay? Alright, so this Proverbs chapter 30 verse 8 says, "Remove far from me vanity and lies." Alright, so the philosophy of Esau's system, his retirement system, educational system, his government structure is all vanity and lies, man. You put in all that work as a so-called employee, as a slave, and you think, you're going to get your pension check or retirement check or disability check or social security check without any headaches. No, man, it's going to be messed up, man. Folks haven't collected checks and having a nice life. The neighbors in the neighborhood are not doing well. So how's that enjoyment? The family is messed up, because the family is broke. So that big check they're collecting, they got to split it among the family that's not doing well, all right? So it says, "Give me neither poverty nor riches, feed me with food convenient for me." And the food that's convenient for the Akim is this word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, it's the food that cannot perish, all right? So I'm just going to jump real quick to the book of Mark, chapter 4, and look at verse 19. It says, be watchful. This is parable of the sower. So I get straight to the point. It says, these are the seed that fell among thorns, right? It says, "And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful." All right. So you gotta let go of Esau's system, man, mentally. You gotta know that the kingdom is nigh at hand, and you don't have time to be worrying about uncertain riches, man. You're gonna have bills, man. You gotta have to pay taxes all the way till you have to die, if that's the case here in Babylon. So get another chapter, book of Sirach. Let's see if I could scroll back down. All right. Let's see, Sirach chapter 10. All right, look at verse 8. So it says, "Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit." All right. The kingdom is translated from one people to another. So, New Jerusalem is on its way. And Esau's out of here, man. He knows that, so that's gonna be a good reason for him to come against the men of the Lord, man. You know, I can be uploading video about black identity extremism. You know how Esau used the angle to come against us, but hey, that's his only angle, man. You gotta demonize the men of the Lord to come against them. And then the Lord will meet him with violence, you know, with spiritual violence. You know, when the angels show up and tear down Esau's system, it's gonna be so beautiful, man. You know, when the Spirit of the Lord start to work, start to confound Esau, you know, it's gonna be so strange, man. Like, damn, man, you know, the angels are with this man. You know, like, why the hell are we persecuting them? But hey, you know, it's gotta happen, man. Folks won't believe that the Lord exists until He shows His power. All right. So I can just understand, man. You know, Esau's on his way out, man. Don't waste your time, you know, trying to gather the wealth of this world. All right. All those payday loans just to pay a bill real quick, title loans and all that stuff. Those are just little breeders, but in Babylon, you're always going to be in debt. You know, always in debt. You know, that's how Babylon was set up. You know, that's an unrighteous foundation or an unjust balance that the Lord talked about. You know, it's against the laws of the Lord, Yahweh. All right. So all these legislations that Esau keeps trying to pass is not going to help. And then, you know, you just get the book of Jeremiah chapter 51 and look at verse 8. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. So all these legislations they keep trying to pass to try to prevent America's economy from falling apart, trying to boost productivity, you know, it's not going to help, man. You know, because America has been torn apart, you know, because of greed, because of unrighteousness, and most importantly, because of the judgment of the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Famous last words being heard all over the country these days. When its pension fund did run out of money, right on schedule, what did Pritchard do? It filed for bankruptcy again, this time hoping to be rid of its pension. Was the attempt to file for bankruptcy a deliberate attempt to...
And then it lets you know that these cities, this state are nothing but corporations, man. You know, they are nothing but corporations. The United States is a corporation, you know, so they operate like a business. You know, they have a charter, they have all those protections in the IRS code that they could use. But hey, it's not always going to work, man. You know, it's a system built on fraud and deceit. And the Lord's going to expose it.
stall to
Yes.
not solve that problem?
Yes, absolutely.
The petition was eventually thrown out of court, but it took nearly a year. During that time, no money for retirees. Since September 2009, when their pension checks stopped, Pritchard has been breaking state law. But Alabama's Attorney General has done nothing about it.
Miss Nettie Banks, she was a police dispatcher, and she ended up having to file bankruptcy.
Robert Hedge represents retirees in a class action suit against the city of Pritchard.
This breaks my heart right here. Huey Dossett has some serious arthritis issues, unable to work. His 73-year-old wife had to go back to work. And we've got Miss Spradlin right here, Wanda Spradlin. She's in a wheelchair. She's in pretty bad shape. She's had some strokes, and I just feel for them.
The city now owes its pensioners more than $2.5 million in back payments.
We're talking about, on average, $1,000 a month.
And that's peanuts, man. That's peanuts compared to what these billionaires have, man. You know, they could raise all the minimum wages they have, you know, for the employees, but at the end of the day, it's going to have more, you know, because it's just a business expense. It's a write-off, you know. So all these cities, man, that have financial issues, this was just gonna let it go down because it's got to control the people, you know. That's another way of maintaining power, controlling people's finances.
Per person.
That's it.
That's it. That's the difference between buying your medications and buying food.
And then there are current employees like Police Captain Charles Kennedy.
As a doctor told me I had to quit.
He's 67, has had a serious heart attack and open heart surgery. But
See that? 67. Still working as a police captain. That's jacked up, you know. So in his old age, man, he can't really retire, man. He's got to keep on working because he's in a bind, you know. And I could remember when I was in my 20s, Bush was talking about, you know, reforming the pension system, Social Security, whatever. You know, that they have to increase the age of retirement. You know, folks will have to contribute more. They will want to privatize it, and then they put all that money on the stock market, invest it, so you could get a higher return. But folks weren't having it, and now that all that you know has been said and done, the problem is still there and it's expanding. You know, it's like that virus that keeps on eating away. And October 5th, that was yesterday, was a day to pay property taxes here in Virginia. So you can imagine, man, you know, if you got a vehicle, you got to pay property tax. You know, if you have a license for a business, you got to pay that also, real estate taxes, things like that. If you pay your tax on the 10th, also like on the 6th, after the 5th, you know, whatever, that's a 10% you know, fee you gotta pay, man. You know, add 10% of what you owe, and you pay that. So that's how messed up, you know, things are, man. That's what you call usury, all right? So Babylon is on its way out. You know, it's so messed up. You know, folks just moving around without paying, you know, because they can't afford it. You know, they can't afford to register their vehicles in the city or in the state of Virginia because they're going to be paying property taxes. You know, that's how the state makes its money. It's all a business. You know, driving through tolls, using the express lane, HOVs and all that stuff, you got to pay for it. You know, there's nothing wrong in paying for repairs, but when it's run as a business, you know, to add penalties for non-payment, hey, that's messed up. So understand, man, the Lord there by Shema Shai is letting folks know that America is on its way out. You can't ignore it. It's just a fact. And once I check this video, I'll move on to the one in California.
can't afford to retire.
Because if I was to leave now, I'd be like the rest of the retirees. I'd have nothing.
Kennedy is the most decorated officer on the Pritchard police force.
I dedicated myself to the city. I did my part.
And that's what gets him about how the city has acted.
I did an honorable job for them. I think they owe me the same kind of respect.
Retired fire captain Alfred Arnold agrees.
It's bad enough to lose one check out of a house, but to lose two, that's devastating. You're not giving us something that we didn't earn. You're not giving us no welfare. You're giving us our money that we put in. How are we supposed to live?
These people haven't been paid in 17 months. What can you say about that?
That's not the city.
On Thursday nights, it's
Kind of reminds me of when I was in Nigeria, man. You know, employees could go for months and years, man, without getting paid a salary. I'm like, damn, how the hell do you survive? But you know, the way people live over there is totally different from here. Much more over there, you have families and neighbors and friends that could always pull together to help out. But here in Babylon, it's so messed up, man. You know, you fall on hard times, you become homeless. You know, you start living on the streets, you become prey to violence, drug addiction, you know, you get thrown in jail here and there. But that's just the curses, man.
city council meetings, local reporters ambush Pritchard Mayor Ron Davis.
I'm concerned about them not getting paid. I would like to see them get some payment.
That's the issue, man. Why the hell they gotta ambush the council, the mayor of the city, or the council chairman to get a response from him? Let you know that he doesn't want to deal with the people, man. That his mind is somewhere else. He's totally out of sync, you know?
Expressions of sympathy don't amount to much among the retirees who show up every week.
Pension fund did not run out of money overnight.
That's Nettie Banks, the fire dispatcher who had to declare bankruptcy. Alfred Arnold is here. Jackie Arnold is too. Captain Charles Kennedy attends when he's not working.
And 14 benefit recipients have died. All of the retirees' mental and physical health has been impacted by not receiving the monies that we are entitled to under the law.
So, whose law was that? That's Esau's law, right? So Esau's system is totally flawed. You know, the Most High has decided that it's time for it to be swept away with the besom of destruction and nuclear missiles. And you see the people in the crowd, man, both Jakes and Edomites, man. You know, as well, maybe have a couple of other heathens in there. But it's mostly Israel and Edom. You know, they're just catching all hell, man. They're in the same boat together because they're trusted and is in the system of the oppressor.
Wanda Spradlin struggles up from her wheelchair and lets loose.
If the retirees are not getting anything, I don't think any of you should get a dime either. And then it wouldn't be long till you would know how we feel.
The mayor, with his back to the crowd, and the city council sit in stony silence.
There is a right way and a wrong way to have handled this pension crisis. In my opinion, the majority of you have chosen the wrong way.
In fact, both sides have now met with a mediator. The lawyers are trying to draft a compromise. Retirees would be paid some of the pension money they're owed, not all.
So that's a pay cut right there, man. You know, that's a pay cut. So just imagine when all shit is hitting the fan, man. How the hell are you gonna take care of all these elderly folks, man? You know, because Esau decided that, well, he's just gonna cut them loose, man. You know, Esau decided to move on, forget about these people.
That is, if they agree to what's being offered.
I will ask you to stand for a moment of silence as I read the names of the pensioners and retirees that have died since this happened.
The city knows the retirees are running out of time.
Aletha Gurley, Willie M. Richardson, Wilson Schmidt, Rex Wall, George Kemp.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why, is, man, you know, these cops, they have to keep on generating revenue. You know, all these people that write tickets, you know, traffic meter maids, whatever, you gotta keep on replenishing that government coffers, man. You know, so that's how things get balanced, man. You know, speed cameras, fines, and court fees. That's how the government have to make money to balance its budget, you know, and then, you know, use some of that money to take care of the folks in the jails, pay people on the government payroll, provide so-called social services, which have been diminished. All right, so Babylon's a total mess, man. And then you have the issue of immigration, where you have folks that cannot afford to pay living wage, so they pay people under the table. All right, so that lets you know, man, they're not really paying enough in so-called taxes to you know, to contribute, you know, to the accounts of the government, you know. So just let you know, man, everything is being cut. And let me rewind back to the one in California. Let's see, there's one more.
And across the country, cities and counties are going broke trying to keep up with public pension debt. The pension crisis was the topic of a recent Stanford University workshop.
It is this albatross around the necks of local governments and of the state government.
Stanford professor Joe Nation is talking about public employee pensions.
I think unless we do something, this system may not survive.
The biggest system in the country is right here in California, the Public Employees Retirement System, known as CalPERS. The problem is, the pension fund doesn't have nearly enough money to cover the cost of current and future employee pensions. It's short, according to some estimates, by $1 trillion.
Which compares to $128 billion a year in general fund revenues. So, we're kind of 8 years of tax revenues in arrears.
Now, critics say that CalPERS has been hiding the enormity of this problem the way a gambler hides their losses, by assuming unlikely and huge returns on their investments. Now, officially, CalPERS assumes a 7% return on its investment, but economists agree that that number is closer to 3 to 4%.
What you were hearing a little bit today are folks saying that the return rate should be lower. You made the determination.
Richard Costigan sits on the CalPERS Board of Administration. Last December, they finally voted to cut the assumed return from 7.5% to 7%. But a smaller amount from investments means more has to come from governments and employees.
And this is sort of the difficulty, is if you lower the discount rate, and it's been part of the dialogue and discussion here, you push up the contribution levels of employers and employees to try to address the unfunded liability.
The bottom line, cities, counties, school districts, and ultimately taxpayers are footing a much bigger, and some say more accurate, bill.
This shows the
CalPERS estimates that about a third of local and state budgets go to pay for public pensions. But experts at this recent...
So I could see, man, it's messed up, Ask yourself, man, how long do you got to be in Babylon, man? How long, you're going to be in a system that's going towards total bankruptcy? How long are you going to be working for paycheck to paycheck? You ask yourself, the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, has to do something, man. You got family members, then their 50s, 60s, and 70s. They want to see them suffer in a system that's so walked up, hell bent on destroying itself from within. So you just gotta pray that the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, delivers Drake out of his calamities, man, because this is no joke, man. The inability of a man to provide for his family is a serious curse. It's a serious predicament, one has to avoid. That's why, the man of the Lord call upon the name of Yahushai with all diligence and sincerity, that we don't lose our marbles, man, because the riches of this world, man, it's not important. Once you have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you see things clearly and you prepare yourself accordingly. So I say, Ka Hala Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Ba'Shem Kwakwadesh. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of great wisdom who rule well. To the Akim, stay faithful, stay humble, man. Don't put your trust in a system that's crumbling, man. Because it's gonna cause you so much headache, man, and then you end up losing twice. You don't want to lose your salvation to a system that's hell bent on destroying itself. So Akim, stay faithful, fight a good fight of faith. Shalom.